Well, flight hacking, to me, it's more than just using points and miles to book award travel, as many travel hackers are doing. It's getting the best possible deal, the cheapest flight, not settling for the first fares that you find. It's using the tools, resources that are available online to, booking the cheapest flight available. So I use points and miles, but I also don't. A lot of times I'm just booking my fares and paying the price, but I'm never paying full price. So flight hacking is certainly the key to that. Well, full price to someone might be similar. I mean, it might be this full price another travel hacker is paying, but when you search a flight on Kayak, that's typically what full price is. You can find cheaper flights than that if you're flight hacking. Well, I recently had an interview with Johnny Jett, and he asked me my travel style was. It's not necessarily having a particular style, it's just kind of the way I travel. I mean, it doesn't mean you're traveling in style in first class. It just means I'm always prepared for anything when I'm travel. I'm always, carry a lot of travel gadgets, for long haul flights and keep myself entertained. But it's most important about the destination when you arrive, just being yourself. You don't have to, try to not stand out like a tourist. Just be yourself. But of course, you got to, follow local customs and be a good traveler as well. Dressing the part's fun sometimes. For example, last year when I was on safari, it was just fun to dress the part and, take on the safari style. But usually I'm just myself, not too worried about trying to blend in with the locals. It's fun to be a tourist. Yeah, and people hate being tourists and labeled as a tourist, but, you're not going to ever not look like a tourist. So you might as well just go with it and be yourself. I mean, I started traveling from a young age, just around the United States and North America. But when I when I graduated high school, I was 18. I went to Europe for the first time, and I spent way too much money. So I was like, wow, I really need to learn how to save money. So I was already, after that trip, I was like, well, I really want to go back, and travel some more. So I had to learn how to save money right away the next summer, just having a summer job and booking cheap flights. So for example, if I wanted to go backpacking around Europe, and a flight to Paris was, $1,000, but a flight to Amsterdam was $700. Just being flexible and booking the cheaper flight and not worrying about where you're flying in as long as you're moving around. That's how I got into travel hacking and just looking for cheaper flights. Those were the early years. That was 10 years ago, so things have evolved since then. But now I've been to over 50 countries. I'm not trying to, check off all the countries as some sort of competition. It's fun to keep track and remember everywhere you go. The goal is to go to all of them, but that's going to take a lifetime. I'm in no rush. Well, I have a map right over here. It would help me to look at that I like to put pens into. But I mean, I've been to most of Western Europe and Scandinavia and a little bit of Eastern Europe. So I don't have the exact tally for you, but a number of countries, a few times. I started trip hacking just because I wanted to save money. I wanted to travel a lot, and the only way I was going to be able to do that, I mean, we don't, have a lot of PTO or paid time off vacation days like you guys do in Europe. So we have to make the most of everything we have. So I would try to take multiple week vacations, but in order to save money, I had to really find cheap flights, and that just meant being flexible. And then eventually I started using a lot of points and miles, but the thing is, not everyone has points and miles just to spend at a time on a flight. It's hard to accumulate those for some people. So that's why trip hacking for me is more than that. It's just, saving costs on anything: accommodation, hotels, car rentals, trains, etc. I go into detail on this post, how to hack a flight on Triphackr, but basically it's this. I mean, just last night I used the same process because I just booked a flight to Dubai, a multi-city flight to Dubai and Jordan. So I was trying to find the cheapest possible flight, and I wasn't using miles. I'm just paying for this like a normal person would. So basically I just start with one site, any travel site that you like: Kayak, Skyscanner, Orbitz, whatever you like. And then you get you get a fare from there, and you start with that. But you should always cross-check, use multiple sites, because every site will fluctuate a little bit. It could be $1,000 on one site, $1,100 on another site, $900 on another site. It'll move up and down a little bit. And say you find a fare on Delta through Kayak, and it's $1,000. And then you should go to delta.com and check what their price is, because that could vary a little bit. Kayak might be charging a little bit more than Delta, or a little bit less. You should just check the actual site once you want to find your favorite site. So always cross-check multiple sites, multiple online booking sites. And the next thing is to be very flexible with your dates, if you can be. Not everyone can be, but flying a Saturday to a Saturday for a week-long trip is going to be more expensive than if you fly Tuesday to Tuesday. I mean, a lot of studies show that Tuesdays are the cheapest days to fly. Not everyone can fly on a Tuesday, but just check, the plus and minus a couple day feature that most sites have, and see if the flight goes up or down a couple $100. Another thing is trying a multi-city flight. Say you're going to be doing some traveling in Europe, so you're going to fly into Paris and out of Amsterdam. You don't need to keep your round-trip flight the same place and get back there. A lot of people get stuck on just doing a regular round-trip flight. Try doing multiple cities. That can sometimes lower the fare, or maybe even just save you some train fare. Yeah. Another thing I like to do is create fare alerts. Most sites feature these now. You can set them up a few months before your travel date and just have them send you a weekly or daily email of the current fare for your destination. You can even set a maximum price you want it to be, so they only will email you if it drops below that price, and you can go and you can book it. And a good to look at the fare history, because usually they'll show you trends or past fares, or flights usually, let's say, $800 and it's currently $1,200. Well, you don't want to pay $1,200. You want to wait till it gets back down to its average fare. So if you set up fare alerts, you can use Airfare Watchdog, Kayak. I mean, a number of sites have these. It's a really handy feature, and it just reminds you every day or every week what your current status is at. So the key really is just to be, as flexible as possible if you can be. And then you're going to probably get cheaper flights. I would probably do exactly what I would do on how to hack a flight. I would probably start researching it. I don't know, it varies, a couple months in advance. They give you these windows and these studies that says, an international flight, book 6 weeks in advance, and domestic flight, book 4 weeks in advance. But in reality, there's no perfect formula. You should just start planning a few months in advance. You don't need a book. Just research the flights, see what they're at. And from there, just keep a watch on them. See how much they go up and down every day or every week. Certain days are even cheaper to book on. Like if you're booking on a Sunday night or a Tuesday morning, the flight could change just on that. There's so many factors that go into it. It's just key to keep an eye on it. And when it hits a low fare that you're comfortable with, just book it. It doesn't matter how far out you are. If it looks like it's hitting an all-time low based on trends, just go ahead and book it. It doesn't matter if it's 3 months away or 3 weeks away. Okay. My favorite trick that I would mention before is just being very flexible with your dates. It's difficult for some people just because they can't fly on a Monday or a Wednesday, but if you can look at the plus or minus, it usually has a feature plus or minus 3 days or 2 days. Just see what it is to fly out the day before or return the day after. Just varying your travel dates can save you a couple $100. It's really surprising how much that will factor in. Or even, adding nearby airports, as long as it's not too far out of the way and it's not going to add some driving time or a longer taxi fare to get down to the city. If you look at nearby airports, and it can just make a big difference in your fare. I actually have never booked a fare with a fuel dump because, not because I don't think it's okay to do, I just haven't done it. But I can explain it. A lot of people kind of think it's unethical because you're cheating the airline, but also a lot of people see it as a hack. So you're saving money, so why not do it? If it's available, you should be able to book it. But basically, fuel dumping is a method by which there's a fuel surcharge on an international fare, and that's removed by adding an additional segment that you're not going to fly to your flight. So you're booking a third segment to your flight, and then you don't get on the flight. So the way this works is, let's say a flight's $1,000. We'll just stick with that example. and then the base fare is $400, and then there's taxes and fees, government fees. That's $200, and there's a fuel surcharge of $400, which is ridiculous. So sometimes you have to do this research because it's not easily available out there. People have to look on forums like Flyer Talk or MilePoint. There's threads dedicated to these topics, and they're a lot of times in code because they don't want people to know about them. But if you booked a third segment, it'll drop the fuel charge completely. So your $1,000 flight's going to turn into a $600 flight. And some people, they don't like to share this information, and it's not easily written out in a lot of blogs. But if you spend enough time reading some forums, you're going to figure out how to do it. And it doesn't work on everything, but there are a lot of them available out there. So if you want to give it a shot, do it. The key is to look for a really low base fare. And if you can find a low base fare and then find a way to remove that fuel surcharge, then you're going to save hundreds of dollars on your flight. Okay. If you're comfortable doing it. It's legal to do it, but what could happen is if you're not flying the third segment, so you have to, if they ever said, hey, why didn't you get on that flight for that third segment, you have to say, hey, I was sick, I couldn't get on a flight, I got a flat tire on the way to the airport. You have to make something up. Because if you continue to do this over and over again, they could revoke your freaking flyer status. They could, at check-in, they could notice that you have a third segment that's nowhere near your destination. So how are you going to get there? It's 300 miles away. So they're saying, hey, how are you going to get there? It doesn't even make sense. So they could call you out on it and ask you to pay for the fuel surcharge right there, or they could just cancel your ticket. Thing is, people have success with this all the time and don't have these issues. So it's doable. I would just recommend reading on Flyer Talk and MilePoint, figuring out the codes and the lingo that everyone uses. It's what everyone does when they start. You're not going to see it laid out there. It seems simple, but it's going to take a little bit of reading, and then you can do it yourself. For flying, I would just say you need to be a good traveler and not, be polite and be relaxed, because there's nothing worse than these people that are just angry with the flight attendants and gate attendants. It's not their fault your flight's delayed or canceled. It's not, you can't be yelling. These people drive me crazy at the airport. So, if you're polite to these people, they'll probably help you out the best they can. And also, that goes when you're on the plane too. When you're flying etiquette, don't take up both armrests and don't recline your seat on a tall guy behind you. I mean, just be a nice flyer, and then it'll be a better experience for all of us. Let's see. So for booking a flight, I'm just going to keep saying it. Flexibility is the key to booking a cheap flight. The more flexible you are, the more sites you can check for fares. Your dates aren't concrete. Maybe a multi-city or a nearby airport. All these little factors can add up to a couple $100s. So just be flexible if you can. And if you can't be, that's fine. And if you can't use miles or points, that's fine. Just use forums, get informed. The more you read, the more you learn how to book cheap flights. What I was going to say is a bad traveler would be someone who just didn't, fall in line with the culture. If the culture differs from you, you should try to adapt to that. You can't just go over somewhere and, you should try to follow the norms of the culture you're in. It's also more fun if you try to be, fit in, go along with the flow, try new foods. You don't want to be the guy over there who just hates everything, is in a bad mood all the time. That said, you should also, if you like being a tourist and seeing tourist traps, go see them. I mean, if you like cruises, go on cruises. There's no such thing as a bad traveler in that sense. Just being a polite and a happy and a nice person. That's the key to being a good traveler. Anyone can become a travel hacker. The key is just to start off, you need to do some reading, do some research. You can't, it seems a little bit overwhelming at first, but it's really not once you just read some basic getting started posts. There's a lot of great blogs out there. If you're into points and miles, booking travel, then you could get 100,000 miles in a matter of a few months and book multiple free flights. It's a little bit harder in Europe to do travel hacking with points and miles than it is in United States, but they do offer a lot of cards. But they offer so many cards here that have huge mileage bonuses when you sign up that you can fly for free after signing up for one card. But also, as a travel hacker, I like to, flight hack, which is not using miles and points. So to do that, same thing. The greatest place to start is on forums and just get involved and start asking questions. And there's a lot of how-to guides and getting started guides. I mean, I have a few getting started guides on my site as well. You can check out. There's sites like the Points Guy you can check out. All those will help you get started. And really, it's a lot of fun. It becomes kind of a game. It's a little addicting too once you get going. It's always finding the best deals and accommodation, cars, trains, flights, because you can travel hack anything, even food. I mean, you could basically travel around the world for free if you were just really flexible and you wanted to fly for free, couch surf, hitchhike. I mean, that's probably not a great recommendation, hitchhiking, but you can do it. You can do it if you want to. There's ways to get everywhere for free, or at least not pay full price. So there's level for everyone if you want to get involved. Just start by reading some blogs and following some people on Twitter and Facebook, and that's what I've been doing for years, and I've learned a lot since then. So anyone can do it. Besides credit cards, there's other ways to earn points. You can use shopping portals, which a lot of people don't know about. Every credit card, major credit card, Chase, American Express, or airlines, Delta, United. Basically, you can go onto their shopping portal and find all your favorite online retailers. So you go find, if you want a new iPod, let's say, you go search that and see that Apple's paying 3 miles for every $1 spent. So you go buy a $300 iPod, you get 900 miles. Just simple stuff like that. Things you're buying anyway every month, you could earn thousands of miles. So you can get miles for car rentals. Most miles are not earned in the air. Most points are not earned flying. Miles are not earned flying. They're earned on the ground through signups and things like that. Because you can accumulate them much faster when you're not flying. Because when you're flying, you're only earning the miles flown plus maybe a bonus. And that's going to take a long time to earn free flights. So most of your miles are earned on the ground. I don't have anything really important to add. It's just, if you want to become a travel hacker or a flight hacker, I would just say get started, because I've been encouraging my friends to do it, or anyone I talk to do it, and they always just feel a little bit overwhelmed. How do you fly for free? How do you, excuse me, get these deals? You just have to become informed and start reading some topics. It's not a ton of effort. It's just, at the beginning, it might seem like a little bit of extra effort. And once you get going, I mean, you become the expert. It doesn't take long to become an expert. And you can start showing other people how to get deals and helping their friends and family.